Now, the third property of this water is the alkalizing property that it has. And you see, we all have an ideal body temperature, which we all know is 98.6. We also have an ideal internal pH, which is 7.365. Now, what we're going to talk about here for the next minute or two is a relationship between something called acid versus alkaline. And unfortunately, because of the lifestyles that we lead, what we drink, what we eat, you couple that with the environment that we subject ourselves to, add to that all the stress, be it emotional, be it financial, we as a society lead an acid lifestyle. And when your body's acidic, it's absolutely prone for the premature aging, the aches and the pains, the sicknesses and the diseases. Now, on the flip side, what they're finding is when you can get your body pH on the slightly alkaline side, that's the perfect environment for that unlimited energy and that vitality like Mr. Oshiro, who in my mind actually is a walking billboard for what this technology represents. And before I move on, understand also, cancer now has overtaken heart disease as the leading killer in this country, and what they're finding, anyone that has cancer, invariably their bodies are loaded with acid. And on that note, what I'd like to make sure that we're all clear on here, we're not saying by drinking Kangen water that it's going to cure or treat any kind of sickness or disease. We're not saying that by any means. What we're suggesting is that the more of this water that you drink, the more of the acid waste your body's going to be able to flush or rid itself of, and as a result of that, you're going to help to bring your body back to that balance or that homeostasis, if you will, and as a result, your body itself is going to make the necessary corrections. In other words, Kangen water is one of the most vital tools that you can provide your body to make the necessary corrections that it needs to make. Now, here's another fascinating read, and I think just looking at the title, Alkalize or Die, to me, it summarizes it all. And this is written by a Dr. Theodore Baruti, who's got some amazing credentials, but look at what he says in his book. All disease comes from the same root cause, too much acidity. And again, talking about, why it is that we're so acidic as a society, 80% of the foods that we eat are acidic. And when you look at this list, we're not suggesting that all of those foods are bad for you. Take, for instance, blueberries and salmon as an example. We know those are good for you, but they tend to have an acidic effect on you. So the whole idea here is to drink a lot of this water because it's going to help to rid your body of that acid waste. And just look at some of these lists here over to the right of your screen. When you've got too much acidity in your body, it could lead to conditions like GERD or acid reflux, arthritis like I had, fatigue. The number one complaint in doctors' offices today is lack of energy. Well, guys, I mean, it's impossible to have the amount of energy that you're looking for if you've got too much acid waste in your body. We talked about the fact that cancer is the leading killer in this country. Look at obesity. I mean, obesity is just running rampant in our country. As a matter of fact, I mean, all you got to do is look around you and you're going to see 2 in 3 people are overweight. And on that note, earlier, I talked about the fact that I lost over 20 pounds of weight and all the body fat around my midsection is gone. The reason is because when you can rid your body of that acid waste, your body then is going to naturally start to melt pounds away. And the reality is when you've got too much acid in you, your body actually wants to keep that fat that's sitting around your stomach, as an example, to protect your vital organs from that acid waste. And as soon as you can rid your body of that acid waste, the weight just tends to come off. And the weight loss stories that we're hearing about Kangen water are absolutely incredible. And this book, by the way, is written by Dr. Robert Young, who's a world-renowned microbiologist. But in there are just some fascinating before and after pictures of, before somebody got to the alkaline side of the equation and after, and the weight loss stories are absolutely incredible. What you're looking at right now, you may not recognize his picture, but I promise you're going to understand what it is that he's famous for. You see, Dr. Hiromi Shinya is a world-renowned MD. He invented a procedure back in the mid-60s called the colonoscopy. As a matter of fact, he and his team, they've scoped over 300,000 colons, and I've seen some remarkable video footage with him and his team where they actually scope colon after colon after colon, and they can tell you based on what that camera shows what kind of lifestyle you've been leading, what kind of foods you've been eating, and as a result, what kind of diseases you've got going on inside of you, or that you're going to be prone to. What I'm going to share with you here is just the 3 pictures from that DVD. And before I do that, understand Dr. Shinya is a major fan of our company, and he's a huge time proponent of drinking Kangen water. Now, take a look at some of these pictures, before and after. And I'm right here in Pennsylvania, and I promise you what you're looking at there on the left-hand side is not the sewer that belongs to this house. It's actually a picture of someone's colon. And more likely than not, that's what most people's colon looks like. And the reality is, if you don't have good colon health, it's impossible to attain the proper overall health that you're looking for. But look at some of the before and after pictures. And in fairness to Dr. Shinya, he does recommend some dietary changes, but he also talks about drinking 4 to 5 liters of Kangen water every single day. Here's some more footage. This is a picture of a 45-year-old female, chronic constipation along with breast cancer. But again, just look at the before and look at the after. And I apologize, I realize that this footage is graphic, but guys, it is a reality that we have to pay attention to. Now, speaking of sewers, here's another picture. Just look at the before. Look at the before and look at the after, only 3 months after treatment. Now, I don't think this guy needs an introduction. Late night TV especially, we see him all over the country. Kevin Trudeau, he wrote 2 phenomenal books. One is called Natural Cures That They Don't Want You to Know About. But on page 77 in this book, he talks about when your body pH is alkaline, no illness, no disease. I want to repeat. When your body pH is alkaline, no illness, no disease. He goes on to further say that every single person that has cancer has a pH that's too acidic. And so, what we're going to talk about now is the technology itself. This technology, at the touch of a button, can take ordinary tap water and can make 5 different grades of water, each of the waters having their own uses and applications, if you will. And you'll find that this water actually varies in pH from 2.5 to 5.5 to 9.5 all the way to 11.5, which actually brings me up to the next part of our presentation, and that's for you to get introduced to the star of today's show, and it's certainly not me, it's the technology itself. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to actually move on over into the kitchen, where we're going to actually be able to take a live demonstration and show you right before your own eyes what some of the interesting properties of this water is, and then we're going to break down the machine itself so you can get an idea of what it does. Thank you.